Hello, good evening, and welcome to
Like it.
Talking Cop on a Sunday. I've just read a message here on the live chat, and it says, "Lads, I've had red and brown sauce on a burger tonight. Total game changer. What the fuck? Like seriously. I don't even know where to go with that from Garmac. But Garmac is probably on cans at the minute, so like he could be having that. To be fair,
On
Liverpool two.
drugs, by the
What?
on drugs by the sound of it.
Yeah, drugs as well. But Liverpool 2, Everton nil from Anfield yesterday in the Premier League and the Merseyside derby. As I always say, the lads done a great post-match show after yesterday. It was Kev, it was Chris, it was Matt. It was really, really good. So if you want to go to the absolute ins and outs of everything on it, go and check that video out or download it wherever you find your podcasts. But it's me, Gav, it's Keith, it's Emma, it's Shawnee tonight. We're going to go through some of the big talking points. We're going to, whatever comes up in the chat, we might react to some of that. We will have Sausage of the Week, because Sausage of the Week was a belter last week. Loads of people loved it. We've another version of that, and I have another game for us to play as well near the end, which I'll explain when we get there. Initial thoughts though, Emma. Always good to win a derby, and when it's thrown in with the absolute Blues going absolutely rasher, it just adds to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like the icing on top. Like it's like the Origi goal, Klopp running on losing their shit because Klopp ran onto the pitch. Just it's always Mane's last minute goal. It was the injury time goal, wasn't it? At their place, it's
Yeah,
always nice to have them not only losing but then moaning about it then afterwards as well. Is unbelievable.
yeah.
It's extra special.
Yeah, it is extra special. It's always good to win a derby. Someone in the chat wants to know, Dylan wants to know, what drink has Keith got? He's normally on the milk. Yeah, he is. He's on some sort of
I'm on a
point.
beer. I'm having a beer. Yeah.
Is
Sunday
that? Can I
one.
hear cubes of ice in that?
Mm,
Oh my
you
god!
can, yeah.
It's probably the only thing that can top that now is if you tell me you're drinking Holston pills or something.
No,
No, Heineken.
Heineken.
All right, good stuff.
He
Show us
has
sponsored.
a stick of dynamite there. He has.
Stick a Heineken. R.I.P. to the rugby and all that. Right, Shawnee, derby win. As we said, you know, it's always good to win the derby. It was a 12:30 kickoff, which we're not massive fans of, but to go and win it, to get the job done when we weren't at our best. It's a nice start to the weekend, though, isn't it? Like a 2:30 when you know your job's done, you can relax for the next couple of days.
Yeah, 100%. But trying to caveat everything that's said in this show by saying Merseyside Derby's a lot of bollocks. Hasn't been good in terms of being competitive for a long time now. They're just absolutely shy. And that's the way it pans out. Look, we've handed them a few hidings over the years, and it's been dramatic moments in terms of Origi and late goals and all. But they haven't been worth a wank coming to Anfield in recent memory, apart from the time when we had no team and no fans in the stadium.
Yeah.
So it's often thrown about in the media about how shite the Merseyside derby is, and I have to really agree, because they are just shite. They are absolutely dog shite. And I love that they had something to kind of hang on leaving the game yesterday in terms of these injustices that they were at the foot of, so to speak. But yeah, it's always nice to beat them at the same time. And like, I know I've heard a few people going, "Oh, I'd miss them if they went down." I wouldn't. They're shite they are, and the way they go on the social media is even more embarrassing than their approach to playing football. Away at Anfield, they're fucking brutal they are. Absolutely. And seeing some of the shite they have playing for them as well. Actually, I missed the first half an hour of the game, and I just flashed up and I just seen that there was one red card in the game, and I didn't even know Ashley Young was playing for them. He's not the being sent off. They're fucking brutal they are. But
No,
yeah,
yeah,
it's always nice to be.
I get on to how poor they were or how poor they are, because I don't think they were. I get on to it a little bit because I think Liverpool fans are losing their rag a little bit over Everton as stage of the game went on, but I couldn't kind of understand that, but I'll talk to you about it later. Keith, you're on the Heineken. You're obviously happy. Like, usually it's milk, but when the Merseyside derby is won, the
Yeah.
Heinekens are out.
That's it, Gav. Yeah. Merseyside derby. I actually agree with everything Shawnee says. I think they're shy. I think they're absolutely atrocious. They cling on to being a big club, and they remind me of Aston Villa a few years ago, where they just keep circling the drain, and then they drop. Now this year they're lucky. There's a lot of shite in that league. I think they might be safe, but it's a matter of time if and when they're gone. And I won't miss them either. And it's a funny thing, like we're all Irish. We look at the Merseyside derby in one way that local scousers look at it totally different. You know, we look at the big game. Well, oh, sorry, I'll speak myself. I look at the big rivalry with Liverpool with Manchester United because over in Dublin, it's all Manchester United fans. Do you know what I mean? That's the one that I always look at and say that's your biggest rival. The Merseyside derby over the last few years is just like a little, a little rub them on the head and send them on their way. And I'm glad Liverpool have started to nearly treat them like that because for a few years Klopp was giving them too much respect, and they're an awful shower of shy. They are absolute dirtbox, that crowd. And I agree with Shawnee as well. I'm glad that they had a little chink of blade and injustice to go out of there with. They didn't really, do you know what I mean? But they feel they do, and it's absolutely hilarious. We're going to talk about it and talk about some of the reaction to some of the incidents, but my Jesus, they're an awful small club, and you see some of their fans saying they're proud of their performance and how it took refereeing corruption to deprive them of any points at Anfield. You're looking and you're saying, will you ever stop? So yeah, I love them. I think they're great bunch of lads. Can't wait till they're gone, but while they're here, we might as well take advantage of them.
Ard says he missed the game. He was playing a game himself on Saturday, so fuck the 12 o'clock kickoff or half 12 kickoff. Quite a few people in the chat coming through there from Twitch, and now we've set up a Twitch. You can watch all the shows on Twitch, and I would advise you to download the Twitch app or go onto your desktop and go to Twitch, log yourself in, sign up, whatever it might be, search Talkin Kop, because as time moves on, I think we're going to move more and more shows over there. So there will be shows that will go onto Twitch and won't be on YouTube. So I would suggest doing that so you don't miss anything. But don't worry, when we start doing that, we will let you know. We've let people know about 20 times that we're changing the name of this channel. We've explained why we changed the name of this channel, and still today I get, you changed the name of the channel, so people don't actually watch. They pretend they watch all the time, but they fucking don't, and that's how we know now. But look, moving into it, Liverpool go into the game. It's the 12:30 thing. Everyone gets a bit nervous over it. It's the derby, and I remember Keith last week going, I don't really playing these fuckers at half 12, and they're not good, right? But
always remember that.
Right,
Always try to remember that.
But what I want to say to you is, just to start on this, Everton's approach to the game, because Shawnee and Keith in particular have touched on how they approach the game, how good or bad or indifferent they are, right? But I seen some people, and Emma, I'll come to you first. I seen some people yesterday going, "Oh, look at these! They're playing with 8 men behind the ball. They're playing with 9 men behind the ball. They've taken off 2 wingers. They put on a centre back and a full back, and blah 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 blah." But Emma, Everton are mad, right? But they're never going to come to Anfield and try out football you. They're not going to come in and go, we're going to play swashbuckling football, attack, loads of players and see what happens, because they've done it 2 or 3 times yesterday where they caught Cough in their own corners and set pieces, and we ran through them. Should people be surprised at what this Merseyside derby has turned into? Because this is where Everton are at. This is the manager they have, the players they have, and the outlook they have. It's not going to change for a long time unless something drastically changes from the Everton side. That just has to be their approach.
Everton, don't get me wrong, when myself, yourself and Keith were growing up, let's say, and supporting Everton, they were actually a big club. Okay. They were winning leagues, FA Cups, all that kind of stuff. They were probably one of our biggest rivals in the league for maybe the 80s anyway.
Better than Manchester United.
Yeah.
In the 80s.
I mean, the last time we won the league, when 1990, I think United finished 13th. Everton would have been, I would be shocked if they weren't in the top 4. But they're the biggest, the 86 FA Cup final, 89 FA Cup final, great derbies, and it was always known as the friendly derby. Everton need to stop concentrating on Liverpool and start concentrating on themselves. Yeah. That's and unfortunately, and I've got friends that are Everton fans, so I won't go too in on them. They aren't a big club. They're a big club, but they're not a big team anymore. Yeah. Okay, they've got a decent kind of history, but they're not. And that's the way they play. It's not just Sean Dyche. Any manager that has been in there has played this absolute pox football, and they still think they're world beaters, and they use us as the yardstick. And like we're like we couldn't be further from the yardstick. The yardstick they need is a Brighton or an Aston Villa or a somebody like that. Stop comparing yourselves to us. You don't play, you don't come out and like I saw people saying, like, of if it went 10 against 10, we would have had a right good go. You didn't have a right good go at 11v11. Why would you have a right good go when it was 10v10? And by the way, we play worse against 10 players. I don't care what anybody says. We've seen it over the last couple of seasons. So,
And
like,
we play good with 10 as well. This
yeah,
season.
we're better. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But they play an absolute horrible style of football. Like, I don't want to, like, there's teams that you would normally say, Jesus Christ, their shit, are actually playing a nicer, more attractive game of football than Everton are these days. Like Shawnee is right, their fall from grace, like, is just, they're to me, they're nothing, they're nowhere, they're never going to lay a glove on us. Bar that one time, like the win before that was 1999. It is a case. Look, we still get nervous because it's a derby, and you always get nervous. I think it's more nervous, not so much of the actual losing of it. It's the fucking noise of them if they win it. Like, do you know what I mean? It's
You
one
get a
win out of
point.
what I think it's 18 or something like that. Like, do you know what I mean? It's that's the nervousness. But they don't lay a glove on Liverpool, and their style of play, like. I wouldn't say that they had a go yesterday, but they didn't park the bus half as much as they did after half time. Like, that was ridiculous. Like, and if anything, like I said, we probably played a little bit worse. We had more opportunities. We just didn't take them in the first half when it was 11v11. But yeah, it's absolute paltry football. Like, it's horrible to look at. They don't have one decent player. Like, even
You see,
Dominic
I
Calvert-Lewin
disagree.
was good for about 4 weeks, about 4 years ago, and that was it.
Yeah, but you see,
You disagree with? They don't have any
They,
decent players.
they love
Yeah.
it, Danny Cadamartri, don't they? These flashing the pan merchants. Their heroes are the Franny Jeffers and the Danny Cadamartris. They're there and they're gone.
Look,
And Lawrence
you're
Llewellyn.
probably going
is another
to
one.
refer to the young fellas, are you?
Me?
The Garners.
No,
Yeah.
no. I think, like, you see, what's happening with Everton. I'm doing a show on Tuesday night with Dave Downey from the Blue Room. Me and him are going to have a chat about Liverpool and Everton, right? But my thing about on Everton is that you reap what you sow, right? So what they've done is they've brought in Benitez, and I thought they were mad to get rid of Benitez because they were on this downward spiral, and this isn't red tinted glasses. They were on this downward spiral, and he was going to be the man to kind of keep them away from that because he's so astute in what he does, right? And the style of football won't be great, but he'll get you results. They get rid of him and they bring in Frank Lampard, who's just a disaster. And then to get them out, they go with Sean Dyche. And I think what they should have done was with Sean Dyche was that you have to the end of the season, we'll give you a bonus, like Allardyce did a couple of years ago, and out the gap you go. But they didn't, right? And coupling that with the fact that they fucking haven't a washer, right? They've left themselves a load of loan signings, players that they kind of have to keep there because who else did they bring in? And then coupling with the style of Sean Dyche just doesn't suit. Like, I think Onana's a good player. I think if you let Onana play, he's a good player. I think Harrison's a decent player, right? I think McNeil started awfully at Everton, but came into it last season when they got a bit of a free. They're decent players. They're decent players. But what I'm saying is, they're decent players, right? That even when you have decent players, you try to get the best out of them. I think what he's doing is he has decent players that he's just holding back completely, and he's just setting them in a way where they've no interest in playing football, and that doesn't help their best player and most effective player, Calvert-Lewin. It just doesn't.
They're signing players and teams that went down because they've no money, because they spent stupid money on shite for loads. So it's not a fucking case of poor old Everton. They've spent fucking ridiculous money on stupid players, and like, I remember you were talking on a podcast and you had to spend something like 300 million in the space of 4 or 5 years, and you are like, they don't have one sellable asset in the team. Jack Harrison's not a decent player. He's a championship player.
I think Jack Harrison's a decent player.
Yeah, he's in the championship.
Yeah, but he's not getting into a top 6 side.
No,
he's not getting into a top 10 side.
Not even getting spoken about with him.
No, that's the level Everton are at. Everton are now relegation battlers to push them to the top half of mid-table, if they're lucky. When they used to be, like Villa years ago under Martin O'Neill, perennial 5th and 6th, would take the odd scalp and would be really difficult to beat at home. And now, they're the type of club that are like, we need to be beating the likes of Luton, Bournemouth, and then at home to make sure that we stay up. And they've survived by the skin of their teeth the last 2 years. They are comfortably the 17th best team in the Premier League. And that's literally what they are. Now, I'm not a scouser, so I'm not on here trying to roil anyone up. Just telling it as it is. They've won probably decent player. And I think that's your man Onana who plays in the middle.
Good player.
I think the centre half Brandwaite will end up being.
I think
he's a good player.
Yeah, he could be. But the rest of them, they're championship level players, and they're getting championship level results. That's the way they are. I think it's thrown about way too much. The lads who come in and run around and try real fucking hard, like that Everton players. That, do you know what? It's like they say you get the politicians you deserve. The Everton fans are getting the players they deserve. So they're a gang of fucking idiots. That's what they have running around at the moment. And I actually, contrary to believe, I like Dyche, and I thought I think he got a spot on yesterday in the post match. I think he wasn't bitter, and I don't think anything he said was 2-1 toward in terms of decisions. Because look, it is what it is, but they weren't in that fucking game. The numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
The numbers don't lie.
No, the numbers don't lie, and to be honest with you, if you go on to our Twitter, not our Twitter, but if you go on to, I think it might be in retweet from our Twitter, but Rory Fitzgerald went through all the stats from yesterday's games with regards to touches in the box, shots by Liverpool, passes, successful passes, areas of the pitch, and it's just like dominance, complete and utter dominance. You know, the sort of way. I just think they've made a mistake in keeping Dyche on. He keeps them up, and he only does it by fluke. And I just think they've made a mistake. I think there'd be better people out there to try progress them, even though they're in trouble with regards to money and stuff like that. That's just my opinion on it. But I'll talk to Dave on Tuesday, and he'll probably tell me I'm an idiot as well, and then we'll move on. But getting into the game, because, you know, the lads went through lineup yesterday, they went through different things. But there's a couple of talking points, and I wanted to get your view on it, because the whole thing about this channel is getting as many voices in there as we can.
A voice for the voiceless.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you can get that on. You should get that on a T-shirt.
Yeah, I might copyright that. Yeah.
Yeah, big glass of milk at the end of it. But come here. There's incidents in the game, right? So let's go through them and see what you think, because I've seen people kind of going, oh, I don't know if you're right with that. But the sending off, right? Keith, I'll come to you first. Is it just what it is? It's 2 yellow card offences. He's made 2 silly tackles. He's got punished for them, and he's off. Because in fairness, I listened to the Blue Room after the game yesterday, well, their post-match show, and they were both going, he should go. He has to go. He makes 2 ridiculous challenges. That's fairly nailed on, Keith. Yeah, we're not. There's not too much argument out there for that, is there?
No, I mean, look, it's 2 yellow card challenges. We had the situation with Diogo Jota against Spurs where he's on a yellow card, and quite similarly, actually, he got away with one, and Young gets away with kicking a ball away, you know, and he's on thin ice, and then he does a blatant stupid challenge on the sideline. Like, you can't have sympathy whether you think it's it's not really, you know, not every foul's a yellow card. They were yellow cards, in my opinion, and I think it was a ridiculous thing for him to be doing. I think it's, you know, I want to talk about obviously we weren't at the game, but the commentary around it was absolutely baffling as well. You know, they were talking about injustices on the telly and all, and I'm like, that's a clear red card. Like, they're 2 fucking stonewall yellows that you're going to see.
I really want to get to the commentary later on.
Yeah, we'll get to them. We'll get to that. Yeah, but it was just like, you're looking at it and it's like, that's not even controversial. Like, this is these are 2 clear yellow cards. And as I said, lucky with the other one when he's kicking it away. So, like, we had to suck it up with Jota a couple of weeks ago and had to, you know, say, look, he was a fucking idiot for diving in, even though it turns out he probably didn't make contact. When you dive in like that on a yellow, you're giving the referee an opportunity to make that decision. And I think Ashley Young, for a fella who's 46 and has so much experience, that he went and done that, I just thought was very, very foolish. In all seriousness, I think Everton, when they go into the Merseyside derby and they're looking at the likes of him, I mean, he's playing left full for them. He's up against Lewis Diaz. Is he, or is he right full up against Diaz? He's up against Diaz, yeah, he's right full. And you're looking at him, and he's an old fucker, him, you know what I mean? And I know he can be a bit wily, and he's done a job before on Mo, I think, when he played for Man United.
Yeah.
But that's years ago. You know what I mean? That's absolutely bleeding yonks ago that he was doing that. And I just think when you go in there with him, he's in there for his experience, his nous, and his bit of know-how. And he played like, one of these absolute rash head cases that you'd see in games before that just don't have a clue. They can't read the tone or the temperature of the game, and they just fly in doing stupid things. That's why he was like in that game, and I just thought he was stupid, and he brought it on himself.
I think. Does anybody want to tell me that Ashley Young shouldn't go yesterday? No? Happy? Okay. Moving on then, because you have that second booking, and he goes before half time, and then the next thing to happen is the next talking point I'm going to bring up is the penalty.
Have you skipped Everton's only shot of the game? On 10 seconds or whatever.
Oh well, yeah. Well, Calvert-Lewin has a header, and I think TNT were trying to tell us how Everton were back after that. Which we'll get on to them later. It's absolutely abomination of a fucking production yesterday from them. But Shawnee, I'll come to you. The penalty. And the same, I'm going to say it to Keith. I'm going to say the same to you. Does not the penalty that's given to Liverpool. No argument with that either. Like people are saying, "Oh, he's running back towards his goal," and but listen, it's like I seen someone say earlier. It looks like he was hailing a fucking taxi for about 10 seconds. It's just a penalty, Shawnee. Like, and you see what happens now is that because me as a Liverpool fan turn around and go, listen, when your hand's out there and it hits it, you know what's happening. You see what it was a Gabriel then against Chelsea. Saliba, sorry. When your hand's up there, it doesn't matter. If your hand's up there, it's not in a natural position. There's a silhouette and all this bullshit. But Shawnee, his hand is miles out. And again, I have to give credit to the Blue Room because they both said it's a stick-on penalty. It is, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. I just want...
If one thing that's been consistent so far, it's that if the hand is in an unnatural position and the ball directly hits the hand without touching another part of the body previous, then it's a penalty.
Yeah.
That's being given.
Yeah, and sorry, it's funny you say that because they were bringing up the Van Dijk against Brighton one where they hit his leg and goes up.
That came out with thigh.
Yeah,
that's the way I'm leading it. Like they're going by a screenshot that doesn't give context as to how it's gotten to there. Now, I was out watching the Arsenal game yesterday, and I'm thinking, does the ball come off Saliba's face and hit him in the hand, and is that harsh? But how many of these have we like? United saying against Spurs that the one wasn't given. And it should have been given, and then Arsenal get one at home to Spurs for the exact same thing, and then people are whinging saying, how come United didn't get that penalty? But then when it happens to Liverpool, it's not a penalty because what can the player do? It's not like, I disagree with it. Like when you're jumping, if your arms are up there and you're jumping, I would say after playing football that's not unnatural, because the natural motion of you jumping is using your arms to get up.
Leverage.
Yeah. Whereas a thing that defenders have been doing before VAR to prevent handballs is when you're jockeying a player down the side like that or defending across, you put your hands behind your back.
Yeah.
This fella has his hand out like he's hailing a fucking 1-2-2.
Yeah.
So what does he expect? Like, as soon as they were going to VAR, you knew it was going to be given. And then you haven't heard any of the arguments about how fucking Diaz wasn't given a penalty for the tackle.
That was a stonewaller.
Literally goes to ground to win the ball, gets none of the ball and takes the man out. And it's not even reviewed. So
no, it was reviewed, I think, but it was very quickly moved on. Yeah, it was like nothing to see here.
We're going to get this now, lads, because of what's gone previous, and it's It's all about how Liverpool are getting all the decisions now. And to be honest with you, I think it is probably the case where 50-50s will become 60-40s in instances for Liverpool because of Klopp's actions. And that's called being clever. But there was no 50-50 about that one. There was no 50-50 about, like, it's not, like, subjective.
No.
Ashley Young makes 2 yellow card tackles. He gets sent off with 2 yellows. Michael Keane, his hand is in an unnatural position when the ball's come across the box and the ball clearly hits him on the hand without deflection. That's a penalty. That's a penalty.
But his hand doesn't even come out, Shawnee. The hand, it's like he's pointing. He has his hand out, and it hit it.
It's literally
a discussion.
It's shouldn't even be a discussion. And listen back to the fucking. I agree with you, Gav. Abomination at that commentary team was yesterday. I actually thought. I was thinking, is that Rio Ferdinand and Cocoms? The fella can hardly string a fucking.
There was about 4 of them.
It was
like he'd no mics left in the studio, and he went, "Listen, there's an extra couple of mics in the gantry there. Just hop on."
Off the mics like it was a bleeding bottle of
like the last week in John Player Blue, we're all taking drags of it. It was mad.
It's absolutely fucking ridiculous to say it wasn't a penalty or there was even any discussion around it. It's fucking ridiculous. It's a joke.
You see, you're gonna get this like. The Saliba one for me was like, wow. The only thing I would say is that I didn't know if the header was going on target, and that's maybe what's influenced him. I don't know if it was, but Saliba's going for a header, and like I think it was Neville kept going on about it, then going, look, they're both jumping, look how high their elbows are and stuff like that. And I get that. It's just that one's very close. Like that's 2 lads up in the air, you know, and going for headers, and you have to be up that high. That's instantaneous. This one was like from a good few yards away, but his arm was out here for no reason, you know, the sort of way. And that's the rule of the game. And like, I hear Everton fans and other fans of other clubs and people going, oh, look what they're getting. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, are we going to keep going back to the fact that the PGMOL and VAR and all the boys a couple of weeks ago made a complete hames of something, and have absolutely admitted that he made a and there's video and audio footage of said, you know, hames. And we're gonna keep comparing this now to every decision that's made, because the next one I want to go on to, Emma, is Konate should walk as well. Konate gets a booking for a silly foul for me, right? Stupid foul. Gets a booking, right? Now, the Everton fans are arguing that Tsimikas should have been booked persistent fouling and stuff like that. And maybe they have a point. And that, again, comes back to the quality of refereeing. And I really want to keep this for Tuesday for Dave Downey. But my thing on this is now, tribalism just gets in the way of everything. And it's all selective now as to when you don't like referees and when you do like them. And this week you're appalled, and next week you're telling people to get on with it. And, you know, that's where it is. But, Emma, Ibu Konate should walk yesterday. He gets booked, and the second one, people are going, oh no, your man done this. He impedes a guy running towards goal on the halfway line, where I think maybe him and Van Dijk between the goal. He should go, Emma. We absolutely get away with that
one. I don't think so. I've seen them being given, but not like the
fuck them. No red card.
The unfortunate thing is right, and we're now living in a football society, where every tackle is a yellow card. Apparently, it's not.
That is a yellow card.
No. I know, but there's to me, he's right. He's nowhere near the halfway line. He's not even in the centre circle. He's between the centre circle and the 18-yard box. So this clear through on goal bollocks is ridiculous.
Oh no, he's not clear through on goal. If he was clear through on goal, you'd be asking for a red.
No. I read yesterday he was the last.
No, he's not. He's not, because when the ball breaks, it's Van Dijk that picks it up.
He reaches his arm out. Now, I initially thought, look, he puts his arm out and kind of nearly pulls it away. Your man Beto decides he's going down. And then today I saw that he actually clipped his leg as well.
Yeah.
So, look, I don't want to get to... Look, I've seen them given, and I did kind of go, oh. And when he wasn't sent off, it was like half kind of blessed, and then obviously get Matip on as soon as you possibly can. But we need to be very careful that every single challenge isn't deemed a yellow card.
No, it's not. I
And
don't
if
think.
he dragged out if he drags his short or something like that, but he puts his arm across him to try and block him, he didn't pull him back or anything like that. And your man is like he's after been taken out by a sniper. To me, there wasn't enough in it, and there's an awful lot of talk this season and last season that does the foul, like does the contact warrant the fall or warrant the reaction from the player? And I don't think the contact was enough to warrant the way Beto went down.
But you
And
see,
if
that.
anything,
But you see,
they were looking
right. So
for it.
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Do you feel that the tackle by Patterson on Diaz is a penalty in the box?
Oh yeah, this is the one where he slides in on his knees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. And what do you think didn't get the penalty there? Because I'll tell you what I think it was. I think it was Diaz's theatrical
you think it
fall
was Diaz?
that stops him. So the fall means fuck all, right? It actually should
No,
mean
but that's
fuck all.
the threshold that they're looking at now.
Yeah, but the threshold shouldn't be the fall.
Warrant it?
The whole thing behind this is that this guy is breaking beyond Konate, potentially 1-on-1 with Van Dijk, going into Liverpool's half on the break, and he gets clipped and taken out. It's a yellow card.
You're overdoing. I think any analysis on this is being overdone. It just comes down to Craig Pawson shiting his jocks. Simple
Yeah,
as
it
that.
possibly is, but that again,
it
that
just
again brings it back to brings it back to the fact that every week we're going to have a set of fans. There's 20 sets of fans in the Premier League. Every week you're going to have 10 of them going, this is a fucking joke, and 10 of them going, give it over, and then they'll swap positions the next week, until people actually just come out and go, they are fucking awful in unison, regardless of whether it happens to your team, for or against them. It's never going to stop. Never ever going to stop. But Klopp knows. Klopp whips him straight away. Get the fuck off that pitch now before your man changes his mind, grows a set of balls and changes his mind. And Everton, I agree with you. They didn't have a go 11 on 11. They didn't, and they probably wouldn't have had a go 10 on 10. But they do have the. I think the right to turn around and go, we were hardly done by harshly there with regards to Konate, because he's very silly in what he does. We get the goal. I want to talk about Mo Salah, because I thought Mikalenko was brilliant against him yesterday. And I thought Brentwaite at centre half was excellent as well. And we'll get on to some Liverpool players as well in a bit. But the goals, and Keith, I'll come to you. Like, he's not in the game. Let's talk about Salah, because there's more records broken again. Yes, I think he equals or goes ahead of Gerrard and Dalglish for Anfield goals. He's in his first 9 league games, he's 7 goals and 4 assists or 5 assists. But he's not in the game yesterday. And pops up with a penalty, pops up at the end, and this is why you just leave him on the pitch, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it is. I thought he was terrible yesterday, and I think he's been like that in games. And you're right, leaving him on there, you saw the benefit of it, because we get the penalty, and like in my head, I'm like, oh, Salah's gonna take this, and I'm always sort of a little bit blade and scutchy when Salah gets a penalty, because he's hit and miss on them, and we've said it before, the run that gives us blade and gives me heartburn when he's running up to take a penalty. But you know, he does it, and he's a big game player. It's a Merseyside derby. He does it. He comes off the pitch with 2 goals after not having a great performance. And I do agree with you. I think Mikalenko played very well, and I thought Brantway played very well. But that's what Mo Salah gives you. You know, this fella is a blading phenomenal footballer. And you see the stuff that he has to go on off the pitch, you know, the criticism he got during the week for a message he sends out, and the pressure that does beyond this fella's shoulders. And he seems to love the bit of pressure. He loves breaking records. He loves doing the digits. As you say, overtaking Dalglish and Gerrard. You know, like that's the sort of stuff that he thrives on. And he comes off that pitch yesterday with 2 goals. And I didn't think he was great at all. Look, it's one of them, isn't it? It's hard sometimes when you're playing against a parked bus, and as the game goes on, so they get the red card, they're lashing defenders on then, and they're going to go back 5 for the second half. You've got the likes of Brantway over that side, who is a good player, and it was difficult for him to get involved. But I think Liverpool subs did help. I don't know if we're going to come on to them individually. I thought Harvey Elliott was brilliant when he came on.
Yeah, I
I
am
think
going to go on to
Harvey
him.
Elliott is constantly getting that ball quickly into Mo's feet. And the more the game is going on, Mo is getting that bit more into it, because when it comes to the second goal, it's not an easy finish for the second goal. No, it looks like it's a tap in or whatever. The way his body shape is, he gets it, he scores, brilliant. But I think he's getting a lot of ball throughout that game that I think Elliott really starts feeding it into him. And as the game goes on, while he's not doing much with it, I think he's getting that bit more of a feel for that. And I think he didn't play great, but he gets 2 goals, and that's Mo Salah for you. It's not the Mo Salah we've been used to. He's been very creative, or he's been clinical, you know what I mean? And this was just a very much a throwback to, the old players that you'd have when they're not doing that in a game. Back in the 90s, you'd have fucking forwards that are just there to score goals. Can't think of any of them off the top of my head, but these just tap ins or whatever to get 2 goals. That's what he was like the other day, but yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely, we'll take it. It's just one of those days where he's very quiet. Mikalenko has a good game, and I think with Trent being very, very central, I think Everton were quite cute in snuffing out ball to him, really. You know what I mean? And when he got it, like you said, he was getting it kind of standing still, and he was, they were moving plenty over towards him and stuff. So although they didn't go man mark him or put 2 on him, they always seem to have 3 in his area, the sort of way. And that's just the fear he brings to teams, the sort of way. I want to talk about a couple of players. Emma, I'll come to you because Shawnee is showing on screen here. We're showing that he's not fully in, so I'll just leave it for 1 second with Shawnee. Emma, Virgil van Dijk, I thought he was excellent yesterday. Done everything he needed to do, won his battles. Alright, he gets that header in the first minute, but other than that, wins his battles. He's not afraid to put out a play when he needs to. He's calm. He's marshalling people, and it kind of felt a bit like, you know what, this was a kind of watershed moment in a captaincy, if you know what I mean. The fourth Merseyside derby at Anfield as captain, proper, club captain. I thought he was excellent yesterday. Not back to his absolute best, but I thought he was excellent.
Yeah, no, he was. I won't say that he was back to his best either, but he had that kind of like a swagger about him, or it was kind of a calmness about him. Been a little bit panicky, I think, in his kind of off spell. I wouldn't have. It wasn't my first pick for captain. I thought that it might distract him a little bit, the responsibility of the armband kind of take away from his game. But yeah, I think you're right in saying that. Like yesterday, he kind of you could see him as definitely he's our captain now. It's just even like his interactions with Klopp. He's always had good interactions with Klopp after the game, but you can kind of see that they're nearly like a team. One is on the pitch, one is off the pitch. But it was a big day yesterday for Van Dijk, and look, his first game was against Everton for the club. But he had that kind of a swagger about him yesterday, and it was back kind of like a forward absolutely breaking their neck to try and get to a ball, and Virgil's just kind of strolling to it and passing it back to Alisson. Yeah, I don't want to heap loads of praise on him because he has had games where he's looked absolutely excellent, and then the next game he looks absolutely tragic. So it was a good game from him yesterday, and a good performance as captain.
Yeah, Shawnee, can you hear us? Okay. Yeah, you're muted for some reason. We're going to try to sort that out. We're going to try to keep working on that. Keith, moving into midfield, and I want to kind of take them as a three. McAllister, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch. I thought McAllister was very much improved from the last time we seen him after an international break. Szoboszlai came into the game as it went on for me, and like really started hitting the stride, I thought, from 60 onwards. And Gravenberch plays what was it, 60 odd minutes. Yeah. And I thought he looked excellent for the 60 minutes, so take it away on them three.
Yeah, look, I'll start with Gravenberch because I think he was absolutely brilliant. And you're seeing a player there. We bring him in, and we were linked with him a couple of years ago, and he was, golden boy mentions all over the place when he's at Ajax, and he goes to Bayern Munich. And at the time, I remember thinking it's probably not the best move because you've got Joshua Kimmich and you've got Leon Goretzka in there. It's a hard two players to break into, and the other players that it was just a bit of a logjam, and he was never able to break into that team. But there was always a player in there. Now, what the cameos we're seeing from him looks like he's feeling his way in, and I think he's starting to look a really, really good player that we have. He's big, he's rangy, he's not afraid to get stuck in. He's a good passer of the ball. He wins a lot of balls in that midfield. In the tight spaces, he's going in, he's getting the ball, he's moving out of there, and I think we're seeing a player that will have a big impact for us. Now, I think McAllister as the 6, I'm not a fan of. I think the thing that's annoying me with McAllister at the 6 is he's giving a lot of ball away, easy ball that he shouldn't be. And when you watch him in other games, I think, I watch him for Argentina and he's punching holes in teams all over the place from a deep position and he's able to slide. But for Liverpool, I don't know if he's overthinking it a little bit and he's maybe trying to do too much, but he's given, and it's the same yesterday, but I think he's grown into all the games. So by the time the second goal comes, and I know that's at the end of the game, his pass to release Nunes is a brilliant ball. So he's doing well. And Szoboszlai is just very fast, isn't he? You don't realise how fast he is, and then you're watching him playing. You don't think, you're looking at a fella who's 6'1", 6'2", big passer of the ball, smacking the shot, and you don't expect him to be as quick as he is. So that trio, I'm excited for. I think if we see McAllister further up the pitch, will be a benefit. And if you think of like Curtis Jones in there, the midfield is starting to really, really take shape. For the fact that we've rebuilt it nearly in one summer. And I was critical of Schmadtke, I have to say, at the start. What are we doing? We're missing out on Caicedo. Romeo Lavia, blah, blah, blah. I like what we've done. All right. What's his name? Endo isn't really featuring that much. We might see bits of him as it goes on. But for what we've got, I'm absolutely delighted with the way it's going. And we'll only improve, I think, when we add one or two along the way to this group. So, yeah, look, I thought the three of them were very good yesterday in different phases. I thought, maybe unlucky for Gravenberch to come off. I felt he was probably the best of the three at that stage, and they took him off. So, I don't know.
You'll probably get a full game during the week.
Yeah. Who have we got?
Toulouse during the week. Toulouse during the week. We're having issues with Shawnee. We just can't get him off mute for some reason.
Gravenberch is he's just such a beautiful footballer to look at. He just makes everything look so effortless and retains possession really, really well. He's very hard to push off the ball, but he's I know it's a real strange thing to say, but he's a really nice football player. Just some of the touches that he has, and looking at Szoboszlai bursting from the midfield forward, like it's just. I know we spoke about it, or we've said kind of. He's the best number 8 since Gerrard. Like there was certain flashes in that game the other day where he's driving the team forward from midfield, and it was just like so Steven Gerrard. Like he's a long way to go to be Gerrard, but there's certain things that he does just remind you so much of him.
Yeah, the sub that comes on, I think you mentioned it, Keith. Harvey Elliott, and we get on to Nunes in a minute, but. We've been we've given a lot of praise to Harvey Elliott since the start of the season, his impact on games and stuff. And maybe the games that he starts, not so much. A couple of games in Europe he started was quite good, I thought. But in the league, maybe starting games, it's, maybe, I don't know why it falls like this, and maybe it's the personnel beside him and whatever else, but he comes in there yesterday and he's flying into tackles, he's chasing down, he's pressing, he's winning ball back, he's passing. Like you said earlier, he just ups the pace of everything, and everything's getting snappier and snappier. And he could have come off there man of the match. I'm being honest with you, Keith. And I hate for it to say has he found his role as one of the first two off the bench? But right now, his role is one of the first two coming off the bench because he's making a huge difference. And there was people on here a couple of weeks ago going, look, I think we're over-egging this. And that's absolutely fine if you think people are over-egging Harvey Elliott's influence. But I think it showed yesterday again that when he came on, he's learning all the time. I think physically and mentally he's coming on so much in the last 12 months. And I think that really showed yesterday in everything he done, both on and off the ball, and sometimes keeping it simple, sometimes looking to be creative. I just thought it was a fantastic performance from Elliot when he came on yesterday.
Yeah, he was brilliant. I've said it all throughout the season. I think he's been brilliant in cameos all the way through when he's come on. Even at the back end of last season, I thought when we switched to the sort of 3-box-3 that we were playing, I felt that there was a space for Harvey Elliott, because we've spoken on this show for a long, long time, and I know Shawnee had said it before that he doesn't think he's a midfielder and he doesn't think he's maybe a winger. What is he? But he can play when you're pinning teams back, and you've got your 3 forwards and you've got a midfielder that he doesn't have to look behind him. I think that's an absolute ideal role for him. And I think we're seeing he's getting on the ball. Yeah, dead right. I think he's making everything quicker. And I think that's down to the fact that he's coming on against maybe tired opposition in games. He's able to look at them and up that pace and pick the holes. Whereas when he's starting in some of the games, who was it? Was it Brighton? He starts at Brighton, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think it was Brighton, yeah.
And he's not great. He can't influence it. But when he's coming on, I think he's been brilliant. And I thought he was excellent. Yes, I don't think he gave the ball away. I think he was absolutely brilliant. Every ball, high balls coming out, he's taking them out of the sky into a stride. I thought he was absolutely excellent. And I think that's the type of player, because he's left-footed as well, it brings a lot of advantages as well, because he's playing in that little pocket. And he's left-footed, so he's got that little sort of through ball into Mo that he can give when he needs it. And I just think he's a player that we can be critical of, and he's a player that might divide opinion. But I think he's maybe is creating a bit of a role for himself as the first sub or the second sub. And I don't think he'd be too upset with that. I think he'd be happy to be featuring in the games and to be getting, 30 minutes to, can you change the game? It's not like he's getting put on with 5 minutes to go. Do you know what I mean? Like a desperation job. He's getting solid time on the pitch, and he's always one of the go-to guys. So yeah, I think long may it last. I think he was brilliant when he came on.
I think Elliott's being used now in a way that he should have always been used.
Yeah.
So what's happened with Elliott is he's played in a team for the last 2 seasons where he had to play games, because the midfield was absolutely shocking, weren't fit. He had to start games, and we've spoken. Other people have spoken on here about how he should have been eased into the team, or eased into a role similar to the way Foden was eased in at Man City. And this is how Foden was playing for City for a year or two before even, and he's nearly gone back to that now, through injuries and stuff. But I think this is Elliott's been absolutely excellent, and he's probably a victim of his own success over the last 2 years, where he actually came in and did well. He had the bad injury, and then kind of fell away a bit. You don't want to burn a kid like this. He's still only 20. Do you know what I mean? So, but I think he's been excellent, and I would have loved that shot to have flown into the top corner yesterday, when he first came on. But yeah, I think this is the ideal, and this is not me saying that in 3 years' time I think that Elliott should still be coming on with half an hour left. I think he will eventually work his way into the team, and it's good now that he has time and we have players that will allow him these little cameos and to build up his confidence and to find his place in the team. I know there's been in the comments, and we've spoken on the show before, about where does he actually fit into the team. Well, he doesn't have to fit in right now. Give him time to come on and play a couple of different roles and ease himself into the team. I think we've got a diamond for a long, long time to come.
I think the trajectory of Elliott, kind of like, if you look at not last season, the season before, like he's in the team ahead of Henderson at the start of the season, and Henderson for me isn't getting back in that team. When he gets injured at Leeds, if you remember, and it was a really, really bad injury. And he comes back. And when he comes back, there's obviously he's rusty and stuff like that. But again, he's kind of in and out, and he's not setting the world alight. And people are like, he's not an A. He's just not an A. And I could kind of see people's argument in the way we want in a functional midfield. He's not an A. I kind of get that argument, but I think what you're seeing now is the change in the midfield for me is very similar. They play very similar positions in one's deep, one's left, one's right, but they rotate it a little bit more. But because we're doing stuff at particularly right back. I think that 8 becomes a little bit more of a kind of a free rolly kind of player on that side. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you remember when we had those three midfield, you knew where they all were at the one time. You knew who was going to press the left back, press the right back, you know, all this sort of stuff. And you know, it's one of those things where, you know, you all you think about is the pressing and the running power. Whereas now, if you see him when he gets it, he's floating. He's not stuck to that side. He's floating all over the place. And Gravenberch does it a bit off the left as well. And I think that's probably the main benefit for Elliot, is that, all right, I'm not saying he's not tactically astute. I think that that'll come in time. But with the little tweaks we're making with regards to positioning where other players are on the pitch, I think he's just fitting into a little gap there where he's more of controlling. You know, he's more of a, I don't know how to say it, he's more of a focal point rather than a tool in this team. You know, if you watch it yesterday, he becomes a focal point very quickly in that game. He's hugging that side where he can get it to Mo, he can get it into Jota, he can find Trent, he can find anyone, and we're literally playing off this right hand side rather than trying to play through the middle and these guys are just there to help, you know, that sort of way. So I was absolutely thrilled from him. We're still having trouble with Shawnee. I don't know what is going on here. He keeps coming in, everything's perfect, and he's just doing sign language now. He's like the fella on the telly, you know, late at night when the sport is on.
Text Keith who his sausage of the week is.
I think he took over sausage of the week, so he'd be okay. But I haven't got a clue what's going on here because Shawnee's grand, he's there, but it just will not let him in to speak.
This thing happens every now and again, doesn't it? It's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, so every so often, and like 99.9% of the time, it's absolutely perfect. But for some reason, Shawnee dropped out, and now every time he comes back in, he's just on mute, and we cannot get him off mute. He's not on mute on his end, he's not muted on our end, but we just can't hear him. Darwin Núñez, go on, let's just find who wants to go first.
Emmett, go ahead.
I think we said it in the last couple of weeks that he's getting better every week for me. He's had a great international break. It'd be very easy for him to come back or Klopp to say, right, go on and continue on your form, but he doesn't. He gives him a bit of a break. I know he had a bit of a cramp towards the end of his second international game, but like his overall link-up play and team play is like night and day compared to what it was last year. Even the goal, right, the second goal. If that's this time last year, he's swinging a leg at that, and it's probably going into Rose Ed or he's dragging it wide. But his link up play, like his 1 and 2 touch football is worlds apart from where it was last year, and even the ball into Salah is like nearly perfection. He just needs to slot it home. He's not reaching for it or anything like that. So look, I think it was great last year. It was like, oh, here comes Captain Chaos and all like that. There's no chaos about him anymore. Like the only chaos is I wouldn't want to be a defender defending against him. But he's not doing mad shit anymore. He'd probably throw one in every now and again, but he just seems more controlled, more relaxed. And I think we actually said that come this season, he'll have settled into the team. He'll have kind of relaxed a bit. I think he was probably the price tag last year. He thought that he had to go out and score every single game. But I don't care if he scores every single game or not. He's contributing to the team, and that's the main thing. They all say afterwards that, oh yeah, I know I scored, but it's the 3 points is the main thing for the team, and no one ever believes them. But for me, the fact that he's contributing to the team is the big point for me with Núñez. And like I said, he has that. There's kind of an understanding now between not only him and Mo, but I think it's him and Mo is where it's most strongest. But yeah, he's settled down. He's kind of calmed down a bit, and it's good to see.
Jono says there that Darwin was coming off high after destroying Brazil by himself. I didn't see that game, or anybody that did see it or seeing highlights raved about him. Shawnee and Keith included, and there were two of the lads that were talking about it during the week. Kev was another one. But the thing is, like you talk about calming down, and people there saying, "Oh, they love the madness as well from him." But the funny thing is, the madness was running through there and just gliding by a fella and smashing with his left foot and hitting the fucking 20 yards wide, or that was part of the madness where I was like, he's fucking off his rocker, isn't he? But But now you're seeing, like, I think he's 6 assists for Liverpool, and they're all to Mo Salah. I think I read today. You know, you see that yesterday. It would have been very easy, and I think the lad said it on the post match show yesterday. If 6 months ago, a year ago, Darwin gets that through the middle of the pitch and he's just running straight at that centre half, and he's going, I'm just shifting this by you at some stage, I'm going to bleed and smash it at the near post or do something mad. But he doesn't. He belts down the pitch to know he's clear of everyone, slows himself down, attracts the centre half who's going, is he actually going to run me here? And just slips it to Salah and he scores. And I think they've played him very well this season. I think Klopp was very cute at the start of the season to say, look, Darwin's absolutely fine. There's things we're still working on with. He's had a couple of niggly injuries. We're working on him in certain positions, certain things that we want him to do. And when he gets to it, he'll be absolutely fine. He wasn't calling them out. He wasn't throwing them under the bus. He was basically saying, relax. Don't be putting this fella under pressure. It's our decision to have him where we have him. And we'll work on it. And I think we're seeing the benefits massively from this fella now. Because not only, like, I listen to, there's very few football podcasts I listen to. The Blue Room was one because I like them. They're very honest Everton fans. And I love the Villa podcast with Conan and his brother, right? And after the game, they played at Anfield, they turned around and said, this isn't fucking fair, this fella. Like, he's like a thoroughbred racehorse running at you, and he scores goals. Do you know the sort of way? And Keith, that's the benefit. We're starting to see he's not just a fella that runs in behind. He's not just a fella that wants to do you a pace. He's starting to link up now. He's starting to see other players. He's starting to see, he's starting to see the game that extra second quicker, which is helping the likes of, well, particularly Mo Salah. And I'm loving this progression from him, because I think as the season goes on, if he starts to knock himself up 1%, 1% on these different attributes, the goals will come as well. And teams will be shit scared of him, not just for the pace, but for everything else he can bring to you. When it comes into his feet, they're not going to think, I'll just stop him from running, because he's playing passes now as well. I just think he played him brilliantly, Keith.
They have, and Escapado 007 says there Bielsa's helped Darwin immensely, and I agree with that. I think Bielsa has helped as well. Obviously, Klopp is the main one, but the thing I always look at with Darwin, and we've spoke about it before, he progresses every time. He breaks in at Penarol, he scores a couple of goals, then he bangs. Goes to Almeria, bangs straight away. Only 1 year there, does well. Goes to Benfica, poor fourth season. Bangs second season, comes to us, poor fourth season, and even the poor fourth season, he done decent enough numbers for the minutes he's on the pitch. But the way the season progresses, he's sort of getting more out and out of the team, and you're looking at it, and people are worrying because you see the he's taking the chances, he's missing the easy ones, he's not making the right decisions. One thing about Darwin is, and I think this is a credit to our scouting team, he's not a fucking idiot. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's so mentally tough. And I've said this about him all along. Watch when he misses. His head never drops. His shoulders never bleed and sag. He laughs and he bleeding jokes about it, and he'll go and he might miss the next one. But he knows, he's confident in his ability that he is going to bang at some stage. He gets it. That he'll adapt to the Premier League, he'll adapt to England, but he also has to adapt to Liverpool, because he comes into us last season and we have a big drop off. It's not said enough the impact that has on him. How many of our good players have fallen off the cliff after the year before when they were going for the quadruple, and so many key players. Do you know what I mean? And it's really a big drop off. He has to come in and deal with that. He doesn't deal with, I'm talking about how smart and mentally tough he is. We see him against Anderson at Palace when he falls for the blade and debate, and that when he gets a 3-game ban. But I just think this kid, and he is a kid, he's still very young, I think he is going to absolutely marmalade this league. I think we're going to see a year this season when he's going to get good numbers, good assists, but better all-round play. And then I think he's going to explode numbers-wise. I think when you look at Mo Salah's future, and look, I more and more want to give him a new contract. If we're looking for someone to replace the goals from Mo Salah, I think Núñez is the man to replace them goals. I think he's going to blow up. I think he's going to be absolutely sensational this year, but into the future as well. I just see the trajectory of this kid, and I'm looking at him. He has everything. And what we saw at the Newcastle game is after putting the bleeding shits up a lot of teams, because you've seen him getting two difficult chances, and smashing them. And everyone's like, right, this fella, he usually misses these one-on-ones. What's going on? Why is he scoring now? And you're seeing it now. He's scoring goals. He's creating goals. He's actually a very creative player. And I think yesterday you saw a player with the pace. As I touched on earlier, McAllister's ball is brilliant out of the back. But Nunes just takes it and runs. And he set Mo Salah up in the derby last year, didn't he?
Yep.
Similar, goes
Same
down the
goal,
wing,
yeah.
crosses one in. Now it's a different, obviously, a finish or whatever. But he has that. He's not thinking of himself. He's saying, what's the best for the team? As you say, it's 1-0. Run down the clock, have a shot, put it into Rowley and double Z into the Kop. But no, he's clever enough to pick out Salah with a good ball, and Salah gets the goal. I just think he's a great player, and I think he's only going to get better. I think he's a player that, and he's the type of player that I love. I love the projects. And I know a lot of fans, they want the finished article. I loved watching the unknown with Salah until he was known after the first game and then just went on and scored loads of goals. But the unknown with Firmino, the unknown with these players, and we're seeing it with Darwin. And I've rarely been as excited about a player, I have to say, as what Nunes will be. I just think he's going to absolutely blow this league up.
I think you know, like, I don't know how many goals he has this season. He's quite a few. But the assists and stuff adding to the game, I think, is brilliant. And I think, you know, people will be clamoring for, oh, he has to get 25 by the end of the season. I don't know. I think if Darwin comes off this season between 15 and 20 goals with probably, 5 to 10 assists, you're kind of going, that's progression again. And it kind of leads me into the question on screen. And I just want to ask you quickly because we're running out of time. But Ravinder says, love you boys, best show out there for the football, the banter, great insight, big up to Shawnee, he's a big fan of Shawnee's. Shawnee fucked off. No, he didn't, there was an issue. Do you think we have a chance to lift the league title? And I can get this positive. I can get right behind it, to be honest with you. If it means we're all on the cans every week and Liverpool are flying, like, I'm there, I'm forced. I'm the inspector on the bus. Letting you on without a ticket. You know what I mean? There's no problem. But it kind of brings in kind of double-edged one. And Emma, I'll come to you first because I'm getting this sense, and I'm not getting this sense. It's actually right in front of you when you listen to manager and players, but. This is like a Liverpool 2.0, a Klopp 2.0 starting to take shape, and so many have commented on Klopp looking rejuvenated, and there's a pep in his steps, there's a spring to him. Van Dijk is out there talking about the difference in outlook and the new lads coming in and the injection he brought in and the future and things feels different and stuff like that. But are you getting that massive vibe, or is it a bit too early to make that judgment?
No, absolutely getting that vibe. I'm fully on board with it. There's something different about Klopp. Just like his fist bumps. I know they disappeared last year, but this is nearly like it's like a revenge tour. It's like the players from last year have gone and got their big cousins to come up to visit, and they're going to go and attack this league now. This year, it's nearly like a revenge tour. The players that we brought in, I think, have been perfect. The fact that Kwanzaa has probably saved us 40 or 50 million, because I wouldn't feel uncomfortable. I'd probably feel uncomfortable now with Simicast and him there. But when Robbo comes back, I probably wouldn't feel uncomfortable with Kwanzaa starting games, certain games. There's something different. There's a good feel about the place. Last year, there was a bad feel about the place. Results, what's going on behind the scenes. It was just a complete and utter mess. Everything seems to be running rather smoothly at the moment, and to be a point, isn't it, behind top? Well, depending on how tomorrow goes, we're right where we want to be, right in amongst them. We're not in 5th, 6th, 7th. Do you know what I mean? Kind of 4 or 5 points behind. You're right thereabouts, and we've seen already this season. We've gone behind in games, and we have that kind of like mentality to come back. We probably didn't have that last year. We conceded one last year, we probably conceded another, and then everybody gives up, even the fans included, team included. But now I'm not going to say that we're going to go and win it, but we won't be far off it. Okay,
Keith, do you feel like this is kind of a new dawn? Not saying not new dawn is probably the wrong thing to say, but there's a change in outlook, there's a change in perspective. you know, there's a different look to this team. There's a different look to not to the team. I think to the way they're carrying themselves, I suppose.
Huge thing the way they're carrying themselves. And last season was very much feel sorry for ourselves season. As I said, a lot of players fell off a cliff, and that impacted Darwin. I felt, was settling in period. And I'm talking about Trent. I'm talking about Virgil. I'm talking about Henderson. I'm talking about Fabinho. Even Salah at the start of last season. Big players that are the sort of bedrock of our team. And a lot of them, Matip, you know what I mean? A lot of them just sort of the arse fell out of them. And this year we're seeing lads, look at Gomez and Matip. Everyone wanted them out the gap. And we're seeing players that, while the fitness, and touch wood, the fitness is always the blatant question with them, you're seeing them putting in some really good performances now. And Emmett's right. You look at Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa doesn't have to be the third choice centre back. He can be the fifth choice centre back now, because we've got a group there that are, Ebil makes a balls of it yesterday, and Klopp can whip him off and put on Matip, and we don't lose a beat, and that's what we have. Again, another thing Emmett says, we're not 5 points behind hoping for slip-ups here. We're well placed. I know a lot of people in the chat are saying, talk to you in January and see where we are. I think by the time we play Man City, you don't want to take things for granted, but we should be able to say, look, we should have another 9 points on the board. I think it's 3 games before then, isn't it? Another 9 on the board. Let's see
and
where
nine,
we are then.
9 probably puts you top.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, if we put 9 on the board, that's really putting yourself in a strong position. And then you go into the City game and you're like, right, why not? We're not, as I say, we're not 5, 6 points behind, looking at others racing off.
Yeah, if you put 9, if you put 9 on the board, you kind of go into the City game going, you know what? We win it, brilliant. We draw, brilliant. If we lose, not the end of the world. Because there has been City games in the past, both for Liverpool and City, where if you lose this, we're fucked. You know, the sort of way. But if you put 9 on the board, you're possibly looking at coming out of the City game with a loss, maximum 4 points behind them, with 13 games gone, which is not a disaster. But we know how City roll on. But I think, it's one of the things. It's one of the things where, if you put yourself in a good position, it allows you for something to happen. Now, don't get me wrong. If you go to the Etihad and you win, you're like, oh yes, you know what I mean. And now everyone's bubbling, But you don't want to go into a City game where you're 5 or 6 off them. No. And then it's all on you to win it. And if you lose your 9 off them and you're not catching 9. Yeah. You just simply aren't. Not the way teams are taking points off each other in this league this season, and will take it off us at some stage. So it is a bit like that. Look, we're an hour and 7 minutes.
I think an improved Arsenal last year, this year, an improved Spurs, whatever length of time that's going to last. That makes it a little bit. It's not. It just doesn't seem like it's us against City. There's 3 or 4 there that can beat each other. We haven't had that
beat City, which is important
in the previous seasons. It's always just been us. It's down to us to beat City and take the points out of City. That's the way it's always felt.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be this season.
Has anybody noticed Gary Neville's changing approach now? Because when Man City was against Liverpool, it was all Man City, and now he thinks Arsenal are the saving grace of all this, and he's absolutely willing Arsenal to win games.
Oh, he loves Arsenal, doesn't he?
Because if he loves Arsenal and Arsenal wins, it means he doesn't have to support City, even though he's been supporting City for the last 5 years.
And it's mad because the Arsenal fans all say, "Oh, Gary Neville hates us." And when I'm watching him, he's giving.
He's willing them in. He's willing them in.
All this shit, never do anything.
But look, before we go, a couple of things before we go. We do have Sausage of the Week. I think Keith's taking over that. We will get to that in a minute. But another one I want to bring up is, I'm going to bring up a segment every week called The One, right? And the one is going to be, I just want one answer off you. It's very simple. It's going to be a topic every week, okay, of something you'd like to see. You can be dead serious about it, or you can be messing about it, whatever you want. And this week it is the one TV series that you'd like to see one more series of, or a film that you'd like to see a sequel to, or another edition of. So would you like to see, I don't know, Die Hard 7 or Home Alone 5?
Don't go throwing fucking answers out here, because you don't know what we're going to pick.
You haven't picked Home Alone or Die Hard 7.
You'd be surprised what I've picked.
Right, okay. So, Emma, one TV series that you'd like to see Now, it could be an horrendous one that you just thought, that is absolutely horrendous, but I'd love another series of it to laugh at it more. Or it could be one where you go, it was absolutely excellent. Give me one more series.
I'll give you a series and a film. So
Oh,
the series that like it was, I thought long and hard. I was up the north today and listening on the way down. I was kind of thinking about it, and I think the one series that I would have loved to have another series of is Faulty Towers. I
oh,
think it only
show.
had two, didn't
We
it?
had
Yeah.
two, yeah.
There's only 23
Two.
episodes or something of
I would have loved
Thursday.
it. That was like I remember being like allowed to, because I would have been, how young? I would have been fairly young at the time. I was allowed to stay up and watch it or whatever, and I just always found it absolutely hilarious. And I just thought when it was gone, it was like, it's like John Cleese, I think, is unbelievable.
He's brilliant.
And I just would have loved to see another series of that. The other one was Only Fools and Horses, but they've come back
they've
like
done enough of
10
that.
years later and
They've
stuff
done
like
enough
that.
of that.
The film I would like to see is, and it's a film, and every time I watch it, I always think, I wonder what they did after.
This better not be
Shawshank
my
Redemption.
film. No, it's
What
not.
is it?
Shawshank Redemption.
All
I
right.
wanted to know what Red and Andy Dufresne do afterwards. Like, did they open up like a boat, herd out boats and stuff like that? I just always wondered what they did
Yeah.
after. So that would have
Okay.
been my film.
Okay.
That's a shit answer, but it's
No,
just
it's
one
not.
that I
It's
always
not.
wondered.
It's like, because it
Don't
makes you
put
think.
yourself
Then
down, Amy.
makes you think.
Don't
Don't put
put
yourself down.
yourself
Then, listen, it's our job to put you
I'm just
down. Don't be
saying.
putting yourself down. Me and Keith put you down, right? That's
Yeah,
our job.
That's our job.
Keith, have you got a TV and a film?
I have, yeah. Well, I have a
Right.
film, but I do have a TV one as well, and I'll say that, and it's along the same lines as what Emmett was saying. You know, Faulty Towers left you wanting more, and Ricky Gervais builds all his sitcoms on that premise that you
Right.
never do too many of them. And to me, the best is The Office. I absolutely
original Office.
love The Office. Yeah, the UK, the English Office.
Yeah.
I watch, right, and this is right. I watch at least twice a week, maybe 3 times a week, the David Brent film, Life on the Road. Okay, it's on Disney. Now, when I'm working at home, I just put stuff on in the background, and that film goes on at least 3 days a week, right? So I absolutely love. I think he's a fucking genius.
Hold on. There's a David Brent film.
Yeah. He goes on. He starts a band. He gets his band together and goes on the road. It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. It got absolutely panned at the box office, but it's I love it. I think it's fucking brilliant. He's so cringy and so relatable. I just love The Office. I think it's brilliant. But he always done it on the Faulty Towers model, because Only Fools and Horses, as an example.
Marge Apple says they're doing a sequel series to Faulty Towers. Bound to be terrible.
That'd be awful, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit like your man that's come back now. What's his name? Kelsey Grammer. What's his name?
Frasier. Yeah, Rodney Trotter,
brought that
isn't it?
back.
I've seen
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
What's
I saw
Rodney doing
that.
there?
But I
Good Night
know, yeah.
Sweetheart. He must have fell out a Good Night Sweetheart and then straight into that.
Good Night Sweetheart was good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Kids won't have a clue what Good Night
Your
Sweetheart
Woman from the
is.
War was gorgeous.
Which one? The first one or the second one? Did
I
they
don't
change them?
know. I can't remember. She was gorgeous.
Did they change them? But now I love The Office, but the film, and when Emma was bigging up his film there, and I thought he was going to rob my one, and we went for the Shawshank Redemption. Oof. Police Academy, right? I love Police Academy.
Okay.
And I just had to check today. Police Academy 6 was on the telly. And I'm like, they don't make them like this anymore. You know what I mean? So I had to check. So I think they've done 7. They've done a mission to Moscow. I think it was the final one. So I would love to see. Let me just count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, they've done 7. I'd love to see a Police Academy if at all possible. Right. That's what I would like to see. Anyone, I'm sure there's loads of Police Academy fans in the chat. Put in your favourite Police Academy moment. Who was your favourite? I think Steve Guttenberg would be up for it, because I don't think he works anymore. I'd be surprised if he gets jobs. Yeah, man, that does the voices. I don't think he gets much work as well. Michael Winslow. What's his name in the films again? Jones.
Larvell Jones.
Yeah, I don't think he gets much work outside the Police Academy game as well. So I think Police Academy 7 is what the people want. Let's have it.
I was watching the other night about Robin Williams, and I didn't realise that your man that played Zed, Bobcat something.
Bobcat Goldthwait.
Bobcat. Yeah, I did. I didn't notice him at first when he was talking about Robin Williams. I was like, "Geez, that's your man out of Police Academy." But yeah, they were cracking film. I'm after thinking of another one there. I'd love to see another.
This is meant to be.
another
This is meant to
series
be the
of-
one where you just give me one answer. You've literally listened off every movie.
Yeah, but come here. When does that ever happen on these shows?
All right, go on. Give us another one. Well, we still have to do
I
sausage
thought
of the
when,
week.
I thought when you said the one that was another
Phoenix
not
Nights.
one.
Phoenix Nights is literally. I'm
Phoenix
sitting here
Nights.
waiting to say Phoenix Nights for the last 10 minutes.
Sorry.
Phoenix Nights was absolutely incredible again.
It was.
Madge Apple says we need another series of Mindhunter. Mindhunter was deadly, actually. That is sound. I'm going to be very, very vanilla here, and I'm going to say I would have loved a sixth series of The Wire. Because the way it finishes,
You're not happy with it?
No. I think it's one of the best bits of television ever. The Wire. And Sopranos, there's an argument around Sopranos. Tony gets shot, what happens in other series? But then again, I like the kind of bit of mystery behind that. But The Wire, I think they could have come back and literally done a series as nearly Where Are They Now kind of series. You know, the sort of way, or a one-off, or a movie, you know, where you kind of see where they are. Another way Breaking Bad done a movie and you kind of knew what happened to them all. I think something along them lines. Movie-wise, I'm not arsed. Just, they make enough of them, to be fair. Like, there's just fucking films coming out of your ears every day of the week, newly released. But The Shawshank Redemption is a good show.
As
I
is
don't know.
Police Academy.
Police Academy, yeah. I don't know. Maybe something like a sequel to Trading Places. Maybe that's being made already. I don't know. I like Trading Places.
I like Trading Places, yeah.
Yeah.
Love Trading Places.
So there you go. But anyway, that is the one. Next week it could be it could be like fucking toppings on a pizza. I don't know. We just make it up as we go along. This week we went with TV and movies. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments after, or don't send to us on Twitter. Just leave it in the comments afterwards. Anyway, to finish off, sausage of the week. Keith, who is the sausage of the week, or is there multiple ones?
Gavin, there is multiple sausages
Yes.
of the week.
Lovely.
Now, there's not thousands of them, hundreds of thousands of them like there was last week when Shawnee highlighted the insatiable thirst of the Qatari mafia in Manchester. We're so lucky to have Alisson Becker as a goalkeeper, because if you watched that Chelsea and Arsenal game yesterday, the
Two
absolute
sausages.
smell of them two keepers.
Absolutely.
Absolute sausages of the
my
week.
Jesus.
How that
What
fella,
were they
Roger
at?
Sanchez, or whatever his name is in goal. How Chelsea have spent like 3 billion and have ended up with this fella in goal for them. I'm like, what's happening here? Do you know
Well,
what I mean?
didn't they sell Kepa to fund the move for Caicedo and all? There was all talk of that.
Yeah,
But no, I agree with you. Sausages of the week, those two, like all over the place. Like, your man gets chipped from the wing, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm not happy enough with that. Turns around and just starts passing the ball into the middle of the pitch. And listen, this isn't like a one-off. He was doing it constantly against Man City 2 weeks ago. Like, literally constantly doing it, going, I'll just keep passing there and I'll just keep making mistakes. And he just keeps turning around, putting his hand up, going, sorry. And but you know what
Won't happen again.
But
you know what
this is? This is someone trying to be too clever again. This is fucking Arteta trying to be too clever. And I'm sorry, I don't like Ramsdale as a goalkeeper, but there's no way you can tell me that Raya fella is better than him.
He is.
He's not.
Lonsdale is shy.
Ramsdale is a better goalkeeper for what Arsenal want to do. He simply is.
He's not.
Your man
Lonsdale is
doesn't-
one. When he was told, right, that we're going to rotate the goalkeepers, I think he thought he meant with him and Raya, but it turns out it means with him and the bleeding reserve keeper, because Raya has played every fucking minute since he's come in there. Arteta wants a certain type of keeper. Lonsdale can't do it. He is no good with the ball. As we saw that
Harry
when he played last
Harry Ramsdale, right?
Aaron Lonsdale.
I'm telling you now, he was absolutely fine. There's no issues with him. You cannot turn around to me and say, do you know what's wrong at Arsenal? Their goalkeeper. It's simply not true. It's simply not true. This is this prick trying to be too clever again. And then the Chelsea stuff is just bananas.
Well, that
like even that chance for Nketiah at the end, he swings a foot around, and your man just kind of jumps in the air as if to go, that could be going
watches
in.
it.
That could be going in. No, I'm not even going to try to jump for it. That just could be going in. Emma, sausages of the week. You happy with that as sausages of the week?
No, I'm happy with that, yeah. We'll just have the two sausages this week. Yeah, they're absolutely shocking. Like, absolutely shocking. Like, it's like they've never played in a big game before. just in there. I don't know which is the lesser of two evils between Raya and Ramsdale. I think they're both. I would say Raya probably is the better. I'll say shot stopper.
Yeah.
Than Ramsdale. Ramsdale does it for the cameras.
He's a good camera
His
saver.
position, Ramsdale's positioning can be a bit shit as well in terms of one-on-ones and stuff like that. But I think Arteta's tried to be too clever. Arteta's probably tried to pep it a bit. You know, pep with his fucking magic head on him, trying to do these mad
Big
things.
magic
And
Lego
I think
head.
that's
Yeah.
why he's. Yeah, I think that's why he's tried there, and it's backfired massively. And Keith's right. How much have Chelsea spent on goalkeepers? Much was Kepa, 67, wasn't he?
Kepa, he was more than Alisson, wasn't he? He broke the record,
They
didn't
broke
he?
the
A week
record
later?
days
It was a
after
couple
us.
of two days after or something. And then Mendy, they paid a big whack for as well. And now neither of them are there. Like, we know more than anybody that's one of your most important positions on the pitch is a goalkeeper, and I think both of these teams have got it massively wrong. So
Yeah. Even with Sanchez, he bleeding creams and Ketia or Jesus, is it? He flies out to punch one.
yeah, it
Gets
could have
nowhere
easily been a
near it.
penalty.
Yeah.
Absolutely bleeding blames. And we had Onana, another bleeding chancer, another gangster playing in goal for a big team, doing that against Wolves when he's just not even looking, just going out and flattening players. I think, like, we look at Alisson and we're so fucking lucky to have them.
I just couldn't get over what I was watching there yesterday. Like the Arsenal giving away the penalty, right? The Chelsea score, but then he's chipped from the wing.
Yeah. But I'm not giving Mudryk any credit on that.
No,
he's a bag of
Mudryk takes
shite
no
as well.
credit. Mudryk is looking to get Sterling in at the back post.
Yeah.
But he's chipping the wing and he's miles away from getting near it. Like,
Yeah.
miles away. Right? Miles away. And then the gas thing is the ball comes to him and he shows the camera behind the goal. And there's no way he's getting the ball to the Arsenal player. Like, there's literally the Chelsea player is standing in front of the Arsenal player and he tries to play him. And now he makes amends, he gets down, he kind of blocks it, right? And he gets up as if, yeah, sorry about that. And that's the thing for me. So blasé, yeah, sorry about that. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. And it's nearly like, I'm not getting dropped here. Like, the manager's made his decision. I'm grand here. Do you know the sort of way? And then...
That's the Joe Hart mentality, isn't it? Oh, I've made a bollocks of that. I'll front up. And it's good. Onana done it a couple of weeks ago, and the United fans were all like, "Yeah, at least he's admitting to it."
Yeah,
like,
but it's fucking mad. And then like someone says Kepa went on loan. They haven't sold him. Yeah, no, they wanted his wages off the bill. Sorry, you're right much there. But then the other fella at the other end, right, when the ball comes to him, he has a couple of options. And he decides he wants to play a 40-yard pass along the ground to not the centre half, not the midfielder beyond that. You know what I mean? And Rice just, now in fairness, Rice nearly misses it. But it's a good goal from that distance. But you're looking at them going, what are these fellas at? What are they seeing? You know what I mean? And as much as I hate Gary Neville, he was making the point when he played City, he's like, good goalkeepers like Alisson, Ederson, they have a picture in their mind before the ball even gets to them. And this fella doesn't have the picture. Yeah. This fella is picking up the camera off the table at the wedding. You know, the ones you have to fucking take all the photos and leave it back. And he's fucking getting them developed down in the chemist. That's what he's doing. He's miles off it. Do you know what I mean? And I just, like, Shawnee said it was earlier, sausage of the week, any suggestions? And I was like, them two straight away. So the sausages of the week are the Chelsea and the Arsenal goalkeeper. Lash Arteta in there if you want, because I don't mind.
Throw Onana in as well. He did his best to dive out of the way of Ryan Brewster's shot yesterday.
But it is true, like, goalkeepers at these big teams, and they're all trying to chase, you know, the game changer in goal. All of them. Every fucking one of them. Spurs bring in your man as well. What's it, Vicario, is it?
Yeah.
And I'm not sold on him.
He's done all right.
Okay. He's done all right, but I'm not sold on him. I think I'm expecting him to drop a bollock at some stage as well, because I just don't trust him until he sees.
But they all drop a bollock, Alisson included. They all drop a bollock, right?
Yeah, how do you react?
But it's how react. Now, your man Raya has literally spent 180 minutes at Arsenal in his last two games, going on like a fucking idiot, right? Yeah. And just keeps putting his hand up, and Arteta's going, yeah, don't worry about it. Because like when I seen that going on yesterday, I said to myself, they definitely alienated Harry Ramsdale, right? They've definitely are, you know what I mean? They've definitely alienated him here somehow. Now, he was missing yesterday because his wife had a child, so that's, you know, the conspiracy theories went out the window. Like Emma
That's
told me,
what the
like Emma
that's what
yesterday,
they
I
say.
said Harry Ramsdale isn't even on the bench, and he went, "Oh, there's talk of a move to United," and I was like, "Oh, Emma, you're reading through it
Somebody was
again."
talking about it the other night
And I was one of the
on the
lads then
show.
on one of our channels. Only
Yeah,
messing
yeah.
with you. But look, we better
Oh, but I
run.
am an absolute sucker for
Oh,
a
you're a
fake
fiend
tweet.
for a Twitter rumor. Absolute fiend for you.
Yeah,
Um,
in fairness,
but
he does like it. He does like it.
before we go,
Before we go on the goalkeepers, right?
oh,
Would
yeah,
any of them get in? Would you take any of them ahead of Queven Kelleher as your number two?
No,
no,
Lonsdale, Raya, Sanchez, Onana,
no,
fucking the Chelsea other
no,
Serbian lad that they bought. None of
no,
them. And this
no.
is what these are plundered in as their game changers.
Yeah.
Absolute shite.
No, they wouldn't. No, I wouldn't have them anywhere near Liverpool. Any of them. Before we go, tomorrow myself, Phil, and Robbie are going to be on. Robbie's been on ages and ages ago, but he's coming back on. Really nice fella. We're going to have a little chat about the weekend. That's
You can get
Monday.
Robbie. Robbie's a blading globetrotter, isn't he?
Yeah, Robbie's always on the move, but we have got him for tomorrow. Wednesday we're recording a preview for Toulouse, which you will get on your audio feed, and we're also talking about the big Premier League moments of the weekend, live from 10 p.m. Thursday we'll be doing a post-match show after the game in the Europa League. Friday we won't be here. Saturday we won't be here, but Sunday we will have two shows following Nottingham Forest. Anything else before we go, Emma?
no, all good.
All good.
All good.
Happy days. Keith, anything else before we go?
No. Poor old Shawnee didn't have the best of nights tonight with the old technology, which
No,
is a shame because he loves sausage of the week. You
Yeah.
know, it's
It's a big thing from, but what we're
It
going to do
is.
is when we're finished here, I'm going to actually get the lads to leave the studio and try come back in and see if there's an issue with them coming back in, and then I can actually post at the issue to the software company we use, and they're very good. They'll sort it out ASAP. So if you've been watching on YouTube, thanks very much. If you've been watching on Twitch, which loads of people seem to be, or a couple of people seem to be, thanks very much. Go now, log in to Twitch, sign up, whatever you need to do on your phone, on your desktop, wherever it might be. Search Talkin Kop, follow us on there, because there will be shows in the future that will be going out on Twitch and only on Twitch. So please go and do it, because I don't want to listen to people going, "You never told us this." I'm literally telling you now. I'm literally telling you. So please go and do that. A lot of people, or the people that were using it tonight, said that the interface on Twitch is really good. The chat is really good. You can different users and stuff like that, so that's cool. So go and check it out. It's very easy to use. It's basically the same as going onto a YouTube app. You just hit Twitch, go into who you're following here on Talkin Kop, and you will find us. And when we go live, you'll know about it. What's the music choice this week, Keith? Quick, give me a song, give me a band, give me, I don't know, a musical to listen to.
I've sort of fallen back. I've been listening to a lot of Pink Floyd. Gav, do you like Pink
All right.
Floyd?
Yeah,
Get on to Floyd.
I think I know
on to
one of their
Floyd.
songs.
One of now, well then get on to Animals. Listen to Animals. That's the album. It's only 5 songs, but they go on for about 15 minutes each. Great.
Half-arsed attempt for an album, let's be honest.
Yeah, great. Pink Floyd.
Got the 5 songs and went, that's enough. Good luck, we're out of here.
Yeah.
Loads of people are happy that we're on Twitch and happy with the show tonight, so that's great. So we will talk to you next Sunday on Talkin Kop Sunday. Thanks to Emma, thanks to Shawnee, who we'll make sure he's okay, and we'll talk to Keith as well next week. That's it. Talk to you in a bit. Over now.